Greeted in cheating story lab, share your location. A sense of familiarity turned into shock when I encountered a side of someone so heartless, so manipulative, it altered our entire past. This occurred on Christmas Eve, 2023, an evening meant for love, family, and gratitude that transformed into the night my spouse Elena decided to shatter everything we'd constructed over 23 years of marriage. At age 47, I thought I was aware of the emotion called betrayal. I was mistaken. There's nothing that readies you for the instant when someone you care about exploits the most significant day of the year against you in front of your children, your parents, and your siblings. Yet Elena didn't know this. Sometimes the person being betrayed has been a few steps ahead all along. Let me take you back to December 23rd. The scene appeared perfect. Elena had exhibited an unusually cheerful demeanor for weeks, almost gleeful about Christmas. She adamantly organized a large gathering for the entire family comprising her in-laws, parents, brother Marcus and his spouse, children Sophie and Ryan, plus Elena's sister Carmen with her kin, totaling 14 people. She repeatedly emphasized that she desired this Christmas to be extraordinary and unforgettable. Unbeknownst to her, the event would prove to be incredibly memorable. I should have identified the subtle changes earlier. For months, Elena exhibited unusual behavior. Increased secrecy regarding her phone, longer work hours, and clandestine calls in the garage were indicative of something amiss. However, I placed my trust in her. After 23 years of marriage, one tends to believe they are invincible. One believes their union is unbreakable. Regrettably, such beliefs can be misguided. On Christmas Eve morning, Elena was brimming with an unusual level of enthusiasm. She spent numerous hours in the kitchen meticulously preparing a lavish meal consisting of prime rib, renowned garlic mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, all my favorite dishes. She frequently expressed affection and gratitude towards our family. In retrospect, I recall thinking that this Christmas could potentially be one of our most memorable ever. 4 o'clock saw the arrival of relatives. My mother presented her renowned apple pie, while father assisted in arranging additional tables within the dining room. Children were playfully displaying their newly acquired Christmas pajamas. Upon arrival, Elena's parents, Miguel and Rosa, offered presents along with tales from their recent voyage to Spain. The ambience echoed a holiday movie, cozy yet bustling, idyllic. Dinner was scheduled for 6. Elena had adorned the table with our wedding china, fine crystal glasses, numerous candles, and newly purchased Christmas napkins decorated with tiny golden bells. Every detail was meticulously executed, a hint of what should have been my first caution sign. Elena, despite her many traits, was not typically fastidious about table arrangements. We expressed gratitude. Miguel delivered a heartfelt prayer emphasizing family, forgiveness, and new chapters. The irony of those phrases still sends chills down my spine. Dinner commenced, and the dialogue continued as it usually did during family gatherings. Everyone was engaged in different conversations. Sophie discussing college applications, Ryan chatting about his video game fascination with his grandfather, Carmen showing photos from her daughter's dance recital, while Elena remained preoccupied and checked her watch excessively despite no scheduled engagements. At around 7:30, she raised her wine glass with a knife, traditionally signaling for attention for a toast. "If I may have everyone's attention," she announced, speaking with composure. "There's something significant I wish to share tonight." The din subsided, and Sophie promptly began recording with her phone. Elena beamed at me, a smile radiant and almost victorious, unlike any I had seen before. "Tom and I have been together for 23 beautiful years," she started, which caused my heart to swell. I anticipated she was about to announce a vow renewal or perhaps a special trip she'd planned. "In our carefully planned life, we've crafted a beautiful existence, nurtured 2 outstanding children, and created innumerable cherished moments." Anticipation of something romantic hung heavy in the air. My mother clasped her heart, while Elena's father nodded affirmatively. Then, Elena reached towards an unquestioned manila envelope on the side table. She extracted a substantial stack of documents, held them aloft as if triumphant, and declared, "This evening, amid our beloved ones, I wish to disclose that I've submitted divorce papers." The ensuing quiet was almost palpable. Not even the children uttered a sound. It seemed as though time itself had ceased. My brother's fork hovered midair. My mother's smile froze on her face. Each person's phone captured the instant my world disintegrated. "I've relocated my possessions to the downtown apartment," Elena added, maintaining an unwavering voice. "The documents are formal. Tom, I have news for you a day early, and I wanted you to hear it from me amidst our family." It left me breathless. The room seemed to spin. The woman I've loved for over 2 decades, the mother of my children, had just dropped a bombshell at our Christmas table, and she was grinning. "Elena," I stammered, "what are you doing? I'm taking charge of my life," she retorted. "I've stopped pretending, I've stopped compromising, I deserve more, and so do the children." My father stood up so swiftly his chair tumbled over. "Elena, what in the world? Please sit down, Robert," she said composedly. "This concerns Tom and me alone." But it wasn't just about Tom and Elena. She had made it a matter between them and 14 stunned family members on Christmas Eve. My mother began weeping. Sophie stared fixedly at her phone screen as if in disbelief of what she'd recorded. Ryan, my 17-year-old son, looked as though he wished to hide beneath the table. For the next 20 minutes, pandemonium ensued as family members inquired, receiving vaguely worded responses from Elena about drifting apart and desiring different paths. She frequently employed phrases such as irreconcilable differences and friendly divorce. However, it was anything but friendly to ambush one's spouse during Christmas dinner. Eventually, everyone departed. Elena gathered her belongings and left too, promising a return for additional items after the holidays. I found myself alone in my deserted home, enveloped by piles of unwashed dishes and discarded Christmas wrappings, struggling to comprehend the recent events. The narrative becomes intriguing at this point, though. It turned out that Elena believed herself to be astute and tactical, unaware that I'd been chronicling events for months, recalling those perplexing phone calls, late work hours, and sudden social engagements with Carmen. I had engaged a private investigator in October. I wasn't seeking proof of infidelity, but felt uneasy and needed clarity about the situation. 3 weeks before Christmas, investigator Patricia presented me with a detailed report. Photos, credit card statements, hotel receipts, text messages. Elena was not only having an affair, but with Marcus Chen, the marriage counselor we consulted 2 years ago during our relationship troubles. This very same person who helped us address our communication problems had been secretly involved with my wife. However, the most distressing discovery wasn't the infidelity. It was the financial manipulations. For 6 months, Elena and Marcus had been transferring funds from our joint accounts, stealthily moving nearly $38,000. These withdrawals were small enough to avoid alerts, but they accumulated to a significant sum. Money from my business, savings for Sophie's college education, and retirement funds. They had been preparing for their divorce without our knowledge for months. Elena's declaration on Christmas Eve wasn't impulsive. It was strategically planned psychological manipulation aimed at embarrassing me in front of my family, projecting an image of her as a strong, independent woman liberated from her dominating spouse. A private investigator had uncovered that Elena had been disparaging me to numerous listeners for months prior. Friends, acquaintances, colleagues, she was constructing a narrative about feeling neglected and disrespected, claiming I'd grown distant and authoritative. She was amassing supporters for her portrayal of our marriage's deterioration. Hence, when the divorce papers were served on December 26th, I was prepared. My lawyer, Jennifer Walsh, is tenacious. With 28 years of family law experience under her belt, she'd encountered this playbook before. We filed a counterclaim within 48 hours, including fraud allegations, infidelity charges, and a motion to freeze all assets during the investigation. The expression on Elena's face upon discovering I was aware of Marcus, his money, and everything else justified the amount I had paid Patricia. However, the true triumph unfolded 6 months later in family court. Elena thought her Christmas Eve surprise portrayed strength and decisiveness. Instead, it revealed a cold and calculating nature. Sophie's video recording of the dinner was admitted as proof of Elena's emotional mistreatment. Text exchanges between Elena and Marcus discussing ruining Tom's Christmas and planning surprise attacks turned into pieces of evidence A through F for our case. Judge Barbara Chen, unrelated to Marcus and a mother of 3 grown children herself, examined the evidence and granted me sole custody of both children, the house, and 70% of our shared assets. Elena was ordered to pay alimony for 3 years and cover my legal expenses. Marcus lost his therapist license, while Elena was fired upon exposure of her affair. 8 months have passed since the controversial Christmas Eve dinner, and my life has significantly changed. Sophie is now flourishing at Northwestern University. Ryan, a high school senior, has been accepted to 3 colleges already. Elena resides in an apartment across town, working at a call center. Marcus returned to California to live with his parents and me. As for me, I am learning to find joy again, thanks to my new partner, Patricia, the private investigator who played a crucial role in saving my life. Though things are progressing slowly, I am eagerly looking forward to the future for the first time in years. Occasionally, people question if I wish I had foreseen what was coming or stopped Elena before she caused our humiliation. Yet I feel grateful she so vividly demonstrated her true self. Her actions made it simpler to clarify everything that followed. Elena aimed to make that Christmas Eve extraordinary. Mission achieved, although not in the manner she intended. This is my tale. Occasionally, the most effective retaliation is to allow someone to self-destruct while remaining silent and recording all events. Share any instances where someone has underestimated you so profoundly that it ultimately harmed them. I'd be fascinated to learn about your experiences. Don't forget to comment, and I'll catch up with you again soon.